Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So we are not brothers if you think we are like, we just have the same hair color. Pascal is a very special person. He had been at McKinsey. He went into the world of investments at KKR. He was COO of Selecta. Most of you will know this company, the biggest vending machine company. And all this before turning 32. BILANZ calls him, or puts him on the list of the digital shapers. But he had been CEO at 32. He did quit his job. He is a co-founder of this beautiful sweater called Tidløs. He has the highest roastery of coffee called Bivio Coffee, and is the founder of Boostbar. So Boostbar is like the company which skyrocketed in like 3 years from zero to the sky. But it was looking very good. But then you got confronted with incurable cancer. What was in your mind at that time?
Yeah, it didn't come at once. So the diagnosis was in several steps. So the first I thought it was maybe tuberculosis, and then when they called it cancer, I thought, I'm a relatively confident and relaxed person. I said, shit, but I assume that there's probably a good end to things, like there usually is. Until a few tests further, when it became clear it wasn't just cancer, it was metastasized. I had 50 tumors across the body, nine brain tumors, or for those of you who are more into statistics, 0.5% 5-year survival rate. And usually 3 to 4 months to go. And I was feeling completely normal. There's not much that can prepare you for it. I think eventually you get used to the news. I think we're all programmed to accept that we die at some point. I think the bit that I never digested is what you're not used to and what you're not programmed for is that this happens whilst your kids are. I had kids 6 years old and 4 years old. So yeah, I don't think anything can prepare for it, but came in steps, and luckily I was surrounded by a lot of people who supported me.
Well, as you said, you have family, you have a business running. What impact had this message, even it came in steps? And the survival rate, as you just said, was very low. What impact had this message on private side as well as on the business side?
Yeah, I think on the private side, of course, it turns everything upside down. I just had started, both myself and my wife had started businesses just before, so it was like the worst possible timing financially. Hard to describe and also hard to think back at it. On the business side, I went back to work on Monday. I told the team and I said, look, statistically it's not looking good, but for now I still feel fine, let's continue. But I degraded very quickly. After 2 to 3 weeks I couldn't get out of bed anymore. And I was completely out of the business. We're still here, right, and doing pretty well. So the end effect on the business itself was, I think, ironically, probably even positive, because when I came back 5 months later, the team, nobody had left, which was quite special because it was probably not a very funny atmosphere. And when I came back, my co-founder said, well, Pascal, I'm more the commercial guy. My co-founder was more the back of the house guy. He's like, Pascal, you need to come back and fill the pipeline again. I said, look, that's a bad idea because, still wasn't very clear how long I would be around. I said, look, what I will do is I'll focus on hiring and putting a team together so it can run on its own. And that's probably our biggest advantage today. Is I think we have a team that would probably succeed also without me, and I think, ironically, looking back, it's probably one of the reasons why we do so well, and it also brought us together as a team.
So the main focus was just to get a team together to keep the system running without you at that moment, and then on the private side to have spare time, I guess, for family as well.
Yeah, as much as I could. I mean, I was laying in bed, and I wasn't a very fun person to be around for. But yeah, and also just preparing the family if things didn't go well. Luckily enough, we also had very, very supportive investors. So when things really looked like, it wouldn't take very long, I was able to sell some of my shares, and I know they called it an investment to make me feel good, but it was more kind of a charitable support.
So you came back after 5 months. What happened that changed from you being unable to work to go back to work after 5 months?
Luck.
Luck?
Luck. I mean, there's probably different people would have different explanations. I'm an engineer by trade, and there's a normal distribution. I mean, there's a lot of bad luck to have the diagnosis. There's 3 cases out of 100,000 at my age, so that's why, when I had the first symptoms, I never thought about it. But then I just got very, very lucky on the diagnosis. There's been a lot of research and a lot of innovation, but it's still it's a disease that goes very fast. So I went, from being bedridden and throwing up blood and not feeling like being around, to a complete remission within 6 weeks on a last line of therapy. Later came back once at one operation, but now for 12 months I've been completely
cancer-free
without anything, and there's chances that it stays so. Unclear how much, you don't know, but compared to where I was 18 months ago, it's pretty amazing.
Hopefully you will. To take apart and looking at Boostbar, you started from 0 to 10 million revenue a year in only 3 years. So I think a lot of people would like to know, how did you manage to do this? I mean, you have been away. It's a very competitive market.
Yeah.
For me, as I'm just a normal guy, how did you manage to do that? How you guys, because at the end it was the team you prepared as well.
It wasn't me, right? I think that's that's the first thing. And we first went from 0 to 0 in 9 months. So it all looks great when you look back. But I've in the front row, I have some of the poor guys who joined me, whom I'd hired from expensive corporate jobs, and sat down in a co-working space. I'm like, Pascal, are you serious? We were just really, really determined to make it work. And I think that's, in general, the people we have in the team. I mean, we have fun in what we do, and we don't treat it as a kind of life and death, but everyone wants to win and everyone wants to make it work. I think that's certainly one factor. There's the factor of we're in an industry, we're at the moment, and we're with a team that has a massive advantage. And I think I'm pretty sure if in 5 or 10 years we'll look back and you'll ask me for one reason, it will be the team. I don't think the density of top talent from different sectors with 5 INSEAD MBAs, 6 consultants from MBB. We've got former senior management out of the industry. I don't think there's any team like it, and it's really multidisciplinary, and I think we have a very healthy culture with very, very low churn. I think it's that. And I think it's also important to recognize that, because no matter how brilliant your idea is, and clearly going from 0 to 0 in 9 months, I don't think my idea was that brilliant, and I knew the industry inside out. It doesn't matter, it's the team.
So with that as well, you escaped like the common mistake founders have, that they are like the guy in the company which is needed, or makes the decisions only.
Yeah. I mean, there's still, of course, there's a bit of the business or new areas where I'm probably hard to subtract from. But I think we're pretty good at, as soon as something runs, we do have a pretty broad talent base and really good people who can take over. I have, just an example, my first employee took over a business unit at the beginning of the year that scaled from 0 to 2.5 million by himself, right? In every other in every other company, that's probably the founder could do that. Yeah, definitely the steady state of the business and the growth I could continue, which means I can focus literally 80-90% of my time on either fixing fires if there are some, or on coming up with new crazy ideas, of which some of them work out and some of them don't.
The entrepreneur journey. So looking back to the whole story you went through the last couple of years, who are you today compared to before?
You're asking very philosophical questions.
That's what the Fireside chat is about.
You warned me. I like to think that I'm the same person. I'd done quite a few, I think the first 10 years of my career, and you listed all the nice titles. I think I was running after other people's dreams. And I'd done this big career switch of becoming an entrepreneur. We took 6 months off before I started the different companies with my family and my kids. So I was kind of, when I talk to other cancer patients and they have these bucket lists, etc., kind of the biggest buckets, I ticked the box. So I didn't enter it with like big regrets. I think I'm probably more aware, more grateful for what I have. I've not become perfect, and I'm not just saying that because my wife is sitting in the front row, but I've not become perfect at work-life balance yet. But I think I'm very, very conscious and mindful of it. But I didn't slow down. I mean, there's a typical question, the nice question people ask is, why don't you go traveling? And I know they do that in Hollywood movies because they tell you get the diagnosis and they tell you you've got 9 months to go, and then they go traveling for 6 months, and the last 3 months they kind of do the admin and clean up, and then they go. But if I ask my doctor how long do I have, and they say, well, between 6 months or it doesn't come back, and I don't know. So how do you plan your travels if you don't know how long you're gone for? And plus, it's probably terribly boring. And I have fun doing what I do. We now have different. We are international in the meantime, but the HQ is in Zurich, 400 meters from home, and the school is in between the office and home. And on Friday afternoon, it's impossible to work because my kids come in and start to play soccer with the sitting balls in the office. So, yeah, it works well the way it is.
You just go ahead as you don't set yourself under pressure regarding time, which I think it's a very good thing because you live in the moment. You live right now. I mean,
I don't put myself under pressure over time. I think the team would still say I'm extremely impatient or aggressive in the way we approach it. We're there to win. But I'm quite relaxed about the outcome. and I think that's what makes us strong as a team and as a company.
Before asking the next philosophic question,
You want to ask me for my age, or?
no, you look great. That's all good. You strive for more. So the question came up in my mind, what's next? As you said, you have like 6 months or forever. Well, not forever, ever, but long. What's coming next from you? I mean, you have Tidløs, you have Bivio Coffee, you have Boostbar. You don't look like a mind who is like just happy with that. They're laughing in front row, so you have something in mind.
Yeah. I can tell you what I will not do. It's the last business I've founded myself. And I've heard a lot of other founders say it. I think the other day an interview with the guy who built up NVIDIA, and even he says it's like, if I knew what I know today, I would never have done it. I don't regret doing it, but there's no way I would, knowing what it takes, and I don't mean the cancer, just the whole rest, I would never do it again. But I'm happy I do it. So it's the last venture. How long I run it and how long I build it, who knows? And people always make fun of me when I said, look, serious, if I exit it, I will do nothing. It's probably not completely true. I think I would love to help others pursue their passions. I would never sit at home and do absolutely nothing. But I have other activities. I mean, I enjoy really working, supporting where I can. And I mean, it's a fashion business my wife runs, so I'm pretty much useless, other than everyone. Every now and then cheering her up when the highs and the lows hit, or fixing a link on the website. So I enjoy that. The coffee roaster. I mean, I'm not going to IPO the coffee roaster, but if I can create 4 or 5 jobs in a town of 200 people up in the mountains and have fun, that's what I like to spend my time on stuff that feels meaningful and that is fun. And on Boostbar, I think in the end it will be a lot the team that determines where I want to go. Everyone that started early and stick through the difficult times, they should be able to retire when we exit. So as long as they want to run, I will support them.
So, saying that, you just go directly into my next question. You want to give people jobs. For myself, it's giving people strength, a place, hope. What gives you strength and hope?
Our family. I think that's what I go back to in the end, right? Also, when I was sick, that was the only thing that really mattered, and myself. I think I'm generally quite. I'm optimistic. I think I'm pretty good, and I think that's something entrepreneurs in general learn to be good at, is to accept the things you cannot change and focus your energy on the things that you can change. And I've never wasted any time wondering why me and why it happened. I think, and that helps.
It sure does, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs nowadays, they just see a very simple picture of being an entrepreneur, and it takes very long to them to accept failure. I mean, I had this panel before. How do you see it as entrepreneur nowadays?
I mean, I think, and I think the gentleman before me, I think most entrepreneurs are ultra competitive and they don't like to lose, and I'm no different at all. I think on the other side, you're often your entrepreneur because you have control over the outcomes. Something I was missing in my old career. It's, you know, you can do well and you can do poorly, and it's always an element of lottery. I think what's certainly difficult and breaks my heart in the ecosystem at the moment with the state of the VCs, it's just a number of good businesses that go belly up, and the founders, you know, they were building a great team, building a great business. In the press, we say, "Oh, it's your fault because you raised too much cash, etc." I mean, they've been advised by people to do so, and that is tough. And I think is something as an ecosystem we should reflect on. I think it's been a very unhealthy last 2.5 years. I think my luck or our luck is that you know, when you've got the founder of a company that is diagnosed with incurable cancer, we were completely unfundable for VCs, so we have a pretty narrow cap table of angels, and that was probably you know, retrospectively our biggest luck, because we're very lean, we're very close to break even at all time. We could have been in a very, very different situation, because I remember just before I got sick, it was like the rush hour with we just were starting to convert the big customers, and we're talking about large double-digit rounds, and it felt completely normal because everyone around us was doing it, and that unfortunately will take a while to wash out, and unfortunately we will see a lot of still drama to go ahead till it stabilizes, I fear.
That's a good point. Yeah, money was very easy the last years, and as you said as well, lots of startups are not here anymore just because they don't get financial support anymore. What are your takeaways and learnings you would like to give future entrepreneurs from what you have learned, what you have done in this very special situation?
Yeah. Look, I mean, luckily the vast majority of founders won't be diagnosed with cancer during the journey. But that doesn't help, because even without cancer, I think the journey is brutal. And if we're here, I mean, you warned me of this question, and I try to reflect. I think it's three things that helped us go through it, or help myself. I think the very first one is, if you're about to start a company, you need to be 100% sure you really, really want to do it. You know, it's not because you've seen some entrepreneurs and it looks cool, but really have a clear reason why you do it, and be dead honest with yourself. And it's probably not the BS that you write on a mission statement on your pitch deck. It's probably something much more egoistic, but something that will keep you running. I mean, in my case, it was the flexibility, it was the freedom, and the ability to work with people I would like to work with. And it's been a kind of dream for quite a while, and when I pressed go, that's what kept me on the path. It would have been so easy, you know, to go back to my old world and get very well-paid jobs with no risk to the lifestyle and no risk of having to tell my family that we need to have move somewhere else. So I think that's the first one. Like, are you really sure you want to do it? Then the second thing is, your idea is worthless. Your vision is worthless. The only thing that will help you is if you have a massive unfair advantage in the field you pick. Because if your idea is any good, there's 100 other people with much more resources that can do it. And unless you have a massive unfair advantage, you have no chance. Or you're gambling. And in my case, I mean, people, why do you do vending machines? And well, I just happened to be in that industry by coincidence, because in private equity we had acquired Selecta, and then I moved over and I was in the world of vending machines. It wasn't the path I'd plotted. It wasn't any macro trend whatsoever. But it was the first time in my life where I felt, look, this is an industry I know inside out, and we will do well. And then the last thing I think is the most important one is don't do it alone. And I don't just mean like co-founder, no co-founder. It starts with your family. If you're not 100% aligned and you don't know that, you know, your wife, your children, your parents have your back and understand what you're up to, it's trouble. And I've seen it with other founders. If you spend your days negotiating, is it okay to take this weekend or not, you need to have someone who has your back, and that's the first one. The second one is your co-founder. And it is like in a relationship, it will only get worse, right? The kind of the honeymoon bit where everything is fine will be over, so it will get worse. If you have any sort of negative hunch at the beginning, forget it. It will not work out. And just to illustrate it in our case, my co-founder, when I was sick, there was contracts to sign. I probably shouldn't say that. There's no contract we have in our company. There's more than 2 pages that I read. And that's the level of trust that I have. And I think it's critical, because if you don't have it, it's impossible. And not alone, then is also the team, right? You need to hire ahead of the curve continuously. And it's probably one of the things where I spend most of my energy on now with the managers is, especially people coming from corporate, they're not used to the fact that if you double the team every 6 months, you need to be hiring all the time. Yeah. And you learn it the hard way, but in the end, the only thing that will influence the outcome is the team you build up. Yeah, and you know, I don't know if vending machines are macro trend, etc., but if we're doing well, that's why.
Thank you very much. One last question. You're not prepared.
You told me there's the last one.
What makes you proud? Very simple question.
I can't pick up a single thing, but I'm pretty proud where we stand, and I'm proud where I am, and there's plenty of things I want to change and I want to improve, but I think. I'm proud that I'm in a place in life where I have no regrets, and I'm having fun doing what I do.
Hopefully we will see much more from you. I think this is a big applause for Pascal's family, the team, and for himself.
Thank you.